Hey guys, welcome to Trade Pro Labs. Thank you for joining our live today. Pretty late over here, currently in London. And yourselves, please write in the comments, where are you right now? So let's have a look. Where's everybody right now? So firstly, I just want to explain to everybody what Trade Pro Labs is and what we do as a business. We are a community driven VC. We believe in helping the community out. And on our socials, we normally just speak about what's happening currently in the market, what's happening on the news, just to be informative and educational. So please note, if you see on the description or the screen running across, you notice it says obviously a disclaimer. This is not no financial advice. This is just for educational and entertainment purposes. So please, if you can, obviously like, share, subscribe the video, share to all of the various different channels. It'll help our channel to grow as well. So as much as you can do to show the world who we are, to help them out, would be amazing. So firstly, let me just get right in and show you guys a little bit about what we do. And I'm gonna show you guys right now. So this is Trade Pro Labs. This is our website. This is a couple of news articles about what's happening in the market. Obviously, we have the market cap on here. So anything you guys want to learn about, what's happening in the current market in the Web3 space, and what we're doing as a company to actually overtake all of the madness that's happening right now with recession and what's happening in the world currently. So this is our website. Obviously, everybody can go up and sign up and get to know us a little bit more. We got all of our socials on here as well. If you see in the description of this live stream, depending which platform you're on, you could probably see that all of the social media links on there. Please reach out to us, send us a DM. We love that, so you can obviously get to know, find out more about who we are and what we do as a company. So, firstly, I would like to obviously showcase a little bit about what we do as a company, um, and for you guys to know exactly um, what we do at Trade Prolab. So, or what we're doing on this live stream. So, mainly, we're going to be talking about what's happening in the crypto market, where the various opportunities lie, what's trending, exactly what's happening all around the world. So, we're going to go through one by one, and I'm going to explain to you a little bit more what's popping off. So, firstly, we have to go to the charts, right? Like, you have to start off in the charts. So, on the charts right now, if we look at it on a monthly chart, uh, for the month, Bitcoin is on a red candlesticks. Obviously, after this, we're sitting about 26,388 currently. Not much happening today, but we're gonna do some technical analysis as well for you guys. I want to read some stuff that obviously was on investing.com, and it says Wall Street ends down as debt ceiling clouds hover. Now, this is an article that's been published here by a couple of the guys internationally, and it says Wall Street main indexes ended lower on Wednesday as talks between the White House and Republican representatives on raising the U.S. debt ceiling dragged on without a deal. The lack of progress on raising the U.S. government's 31.4 trillion debt limit ahead of June 1st deadline, with several rounds of inconclusive talks have been made. Investors eager as the risk of catastrophic default looms larger. Now, what does that mean for everybody? Now, the US economy is built on debt. So they've been borrowing money, and it's a very tough topic to speak about, because myself personally, I hate debt. But in the US, your debt is your credit score is like worth more than money itself. If you've got a good credit score, you are doing well. You're good, because obviously then the banks are borrowing you more money, etc. And what does the banks do? Obviously, they go and borrow more money or lend out more money, and obviously that increases everything in respect to that. So more printing. Where do they get their money? They have to print it out, and when they print it out, then they go borrow it out to the world or to the country, people in different areas, credit cards, housing loans, mortgages, business loans, as many times as they can borrow that money out, because for them, they would be making returns to be able to pay back the debt. But if there is so much of debt that there is inflation, because there's too much of money being printed and influx into the country, and not enough churning, if I'd say, or macroeconomics happening, meaning the movement of money. Then what happens is that you get a big sinkhole of debt, because right now, as you can see, $31.4 trillion debt limit. That's what they're looking to obviously reach or increase, if I'd say. So what does that mean? Now, the US is in a bad state altogether. So, the US economy is doing terrible right now, absolutely disastrous, right? Um, and the reason for that is because of obviously the recession. Now, they've been going into a recession for time already. Um, and this is detrimental to themselves, really, because the recession for them, meaning banks are closing down. If you look at the US right now, big banks closing down left, right, and the more banks that close out, the reasons for those banks closing down is because they borrow too much money. So when you over borrow money, an example, you have people asking for that money, and there's not enough money to give out, they go into foreclosure, obviously, because they don't have enough money to cover it. Now, they've borrowed all that money out, but haven't got that money back in. So people have been spending it, but not been getting the money back. So that's one part of over borrowing money. That could be another part. Too much money lent out, sometimes stocks falling because of that. And when banks starts closing down, where would you want to be? Now, in the last recession, I'm not sure about you guys, but how did you get affected by that? Were you right now, if you look at the current world we're living in and exactly how much we've been getting hit recently with the price hikes, everything's been going up because of the war, because of recession. There's a number of factors. Now, how do we curve the gap between recession and moving forward? Because if things are going up in value, meaning it's costing you more to live life and costing you more to carry on in your day-to-day lives, what are you going to do? Well, this is why we're looking at the news, obviously, to understand what we can do, what's happening, and obviously what's the next steps. Please write in the comments where about you in the world. And guys, if you are new to this channel, like, share, subscribe, follow. These lives is how we can actually get the word out to give out more content and information about what's currently happening in the world, etc. Now, I'm going to go back into another article from exactly the same thing. Is obviously debt limit gridlock. The Fed minutes DeSantis 2024 bid. What's moving the markets? So debt ceiling stalemate. All right. So fears of the Federal Reserve, federal government could soon tip into the unprecedented default after are growing after yet another round of unsuccessful talks between the representatives of the US, President Joe Biden, and the House Speakers Kevin McCarthy over raising the $31.4 trillion debt limit on the Tuesday. So McCarthy described this decision as very good, although a White House spokesperson later suggested that both sides will eventually need to reach an agreement that does not include everything that they want. So Democrat and Republicans reportedly remain entrenched in their divisions over spending plans. Now, they want to get an outcome, which is fair enough, but it's almost like they trying to pull it or stretch it more and more down the line. Now, why am I saying that? Is that because if you look at it, they are actually trying to slow down the process instead of ripping the band-aid out. They're trying to keep plugging in holes in everything that's going wrong. So example, if they're going to increase the debt, it's going to slow things down a little bit, but it's still going to come to the same outcome of a recession, of banks closing, of everything going sky high in pricing, etc. So we want to get to the meat and bones of this discussion, and that is debt good or bad? Now, that's what I would like to know in the comments. If you guys think that this is a good or bad decision by raising um, the debt, obviously, getting more debt. More debt you have, the higher the limit. The world's built on debt. So it'll be interesting to actually see uh, what's happening there. So the stalemate is in the ongoing debt ceiling negotiations in Washington drags on, threatening to bring the U.S. to a precise of a possibly damaging default. The Federal Reserve is due to unveil the minutes from the latest FOMC meeting, while Ron DeSantis prepares to announce his 2024 presidential bid during the conversation on a Twitter with Elon Musk. So while everything's obviously going down, you can see there's a lot happening right now. Now, if you see, there's a FOMC meeting minutes due, and this is obviously gonna also play a part in this. Um, Looking at it right now, the more people are getting into this, the more the price of everything's gonna go higher. From what I look at it, the way I look at it, everything's gonna look worse. Um, This article says US stocks are falling as debt ceilings talk drags on. Now, the US stocks are falling as the debt ceilings talk drag on with no solution in sight. The Dow Jones average was down 257 points or zero point 0.8, while the S&P was down 0.8 and the Nasdaq was down 0.9%. Investors has been hoping for the resolution of the debt ceiling standoff in Washington, in the early June deadline just days away. In Congress doesn't raise or suspend the ceiling, the government risks a possibility of defaulting on the obligations, something economists and Biden administration officials have warned could cause chaos in the financial markets. Now, I don't know if it will or it wouldn't, but I know that we've been expecting a storm to hit. Now, if this is one of the tipping points, then this is what we need to think about, right? Um, this is something we definitely need to think about. So For me, I would say that this is definitely one of the alarm bells should be ringing that, hey, what's actually happening in the world right now? Because these types of movements, these types of warnings, if I'd say, they use the word warnings, and they saying it's going to cause chaos in the financial markets. Now, this is what this article is saying, and this is not the first article that I've read that actually told me the same thing. Now, what can we do to actually curb that, or as as the average person's in living their life, what are we going to do to actually get ahead of this? It depends where you are in the world, depending, what's currently happening. We need to look at this as potential and opportunity. The other part is that the US, I think it was Bitboy Crypto that's saying that the US is trying to get rid of all derivatives or unregulated trading on shorts. Hence why we've got a Bitcoin like a stability point, if I'd say. And I think it was Michael Salas that was saying that. There was a video that I watched that he gave his speech, and he was saying that, hey, look, that most of the people shorting are not shorting anymore, got wiped out. So the leverage traders are having a tough time, right? Because that's where most of the money being made. And right now, because of that little bit of a upside, the individuals that were still shorting have actually lost all their money or got wiped out completely because of the leverage they've been using. And obviously, Bitcoin going up to $30,000 didn't fall in their favor because they probably predicted a bit more of a downtrend than up. We'll do a bit of technical analysis, and then I'll show you exactly, according to the moving averages and maybe a couple other indicators, exactly what we can see and how we can look at different moves on the market right now. So let me bring that in again, and let's get into where's the charts. Okay, let's go into this one. Yeah, Bitcoin. There we go. So here's Bitcoin. I want to get an indicator on, which is the so-called moving average. Okay, I want to edit that a bit. So let's try and go here. Settings. So the first one, I'll say, style. Okay, let's clean this up a little bit. Inputs, I want to get the 200 moving average, so that's number 5. So let's put 5 back on. And let's go to visibility. Okay, so I'm going to put this on, and I'm going to put it on a daily chart. Right, and I'm going to zoom out for you guys so you can see this. So where I look at the longer time frames, the reason why I do that is because the longer the time frame, the more accurate the signal. The shorter the time frame, the shorter the time frame, the more choppy, if I would say, but it's unclear to get a clear signal. So example, if you would sold Bitcoin here, which was the $47,000 mark, you would have rolled it out, and then it would have went all the way down. Now the same way you have this candlesticks underneath the market. So example, the moving average is underneath the market. So if you bought Bitcoin at here at 8,000, you could have rode it all the way up here to 50,000. And then here you would have sold, it went down, but then here you would have bought again. And here it's a bit choppy, but then you would have bought again somewhere here, rode it up, sold again here, ride the wave down. And then right now at this point, Bitcoin on January has turned underneath the candlesticks. And you can see this moving average, the 200-day moving average, has actually gone underneath the candlestick. So there is a big pressure pushing up. Now, the further away that line is from the candlesticks, the stronger the signal. That's the technical analysis point from it. Meaning the further away it is, the more stronger that signal is. Now, let's try and zoom in a little bit to show you guys a more clear picture of what that looks like. Now, if this line keeps coming down, you would have a tougher time. Now, here we go on the weekly chart. This is already touching. So now what you want to see is that a reversal happen. So because if you look at that, that's kind of dangerous right now. That's very dangerous right now, because if it touched it again and it keeps going down, that means obviously Bitcoin is, going to, it's going in a different direction altogether. So example, if it keeps going, if these red candlesticks keep going and this 200-day moving average goes above the candlesticks, that means there's pushed sell pressure, meaning it can go down a bit more. Alternatively, if it reverses, it can go up. Now, I would also like to see the RSI, Relative Strength Index, right? And the reason why I want to see this is to see exactly where this is. So, if you notice, every time we get that, we get a sell. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me try to pick the colors a bit better so you can get a look at it. Style. Okay, the yellow line, let's make it a red one. And let's make the line a bit more thicker. Okay, and that one I'll make it a green one and make the line a bit more thicker. Okay, so I'm trying to exaggerate this a little bit so you can see what I'm looking at or looking for. So we like this. This is what we like, because when it's here, we're looking at the buy pressure, right? Or we're looking at it turning up. The more it goes above this line, it means overbought. So right now, Bitcoin is overbought. So definitely it had to come down again. We got a little death cross here, which is not so good. And let's see where the last time a cross like this happened. So last time a cross like this happened, if we follow it down, was right at this point here. So, the next time was here. So whenever we had a cross, we had a nice little dip after that. So it moved over here as well. But if you look at it, we had not much. It just did a reversal here, and then the signal changed to buy, and then we had that little uptrend. So now the thing is that if it's right at the bottom and we got a signal like that, it makes sense. But we are at an overbought stage. It's not actually overbought, it's more signal of more hodlers. A lot of hodlers, Bitcoin hodlers we've seen right now. A lot of people, a lot of wallets are just holding on Bitcoin. If you look at the USDT, they are the ones that are actually buying more and more Bitcoin. So this is very, very, very interesting right now. Looking at this, I can see that the technical analysis is obviously could be a signal, right? Could be a signal right here. I'm bullish always. Would love to see maybe on the daily chart what's that saying. So on the daily chart, must remember that's a weekly chart, right? So daily chart, we're still looking good. It's not looking that bad, but we're looking at a oversold, or looking at still, excuse me, it looks still like it's going to go down a bit more, but it could be coming closer and closer to that line. So that line sitting at 22,000, and the more it's coming across, the more that signal or that line can, we can be worried about that one. Definitely, you should be worried about that one. Definitely, you should be worried about that one. So that's that. Could be a target. But this is what this chart is showing us currently. It's crazy. Really, really good stuff. I want to go to other news right now. So this is just a bit of a technical analysis for you. So daily, weekly, we can go on. The weekly chart shows totally different. Weekly chart is pushing that blue line to be right now, eh? So it's a tough one. If you look at that, it's there. It's already touching. So on a weekly chart, it could be that in the next week or so, if this carries on going down, we will have a we can potentially have that happening. Because look at that. The RSI is saying, hey, Bitcoin's overbought, that cross, it could look like a little bit of a downtrend. This is just technical analysis. Obviously, remember, this is not no financial advice. I'm just showing you guys a little bit about what are the signals are saying to us, and potentially, obviously, what can be up and coming as well. So let's go to the next one. The next thing is obviously Ledger. I don't know if you know about this, but there's been a lot of backlash with Ledger recently. Um, Ledger has come out and said that, hey, look, there is a service feature where your recovery phrases or your security keys can be stored somewhere else as a backup. So, meaning that if the government wants to allow to get access to these, it can be possible. Now, why do people love Ledger? Because it's not your keys, not your wallet. You own your own keys. Um, Nobody else has those keys. It's pretty safe. And if you look at the whole thing with FTX, etc., people actually moved to Ledger because they felt it to be one of the safest things they could do. Now, for Ledger to actually think that they should allow that, I find it a bit. Um, I'm a user of Ledger myself. I use several different cold storage wallets and hot wallets and cold wallets and online wallets, etc. I love to obviously try them out and experience them. And this whole thing with Ledger has put a lot of people on the back foot. Probably a lot of their buyers would probably not use them anymore because of that simple reason of what they've stated. Um, because if somebody else has access to your keys, they can actually access your wallet. Now, that is dangerous stuff right there, right? So I feel that it's a tough one. Okay, so let's look at the key points. Obviously, Ledger Recovery Service has been has come under scrutiny for allowing governments access to user funds in deemed necessary, if deemed necessary. So that is a red flag right there. That is a red flag. If Ledger allows the government to take money out of your money, I find that totally appalling. The the services, which cost $9.99 per month, allows users to recover backups of security keys and recovery phrases. So not only are they charging you a fee for selling your personal information, because I believe that is privacy, that's breaking some sort of privacy, as well as I believe that for them to give access to the governments um, to use access to users' funds if deemed necessary, I find that a bit picky. Um, I think a lot of people have, hence why they're having so much of backlash on this. Ledger's CEO, Eric, said that, I'm not even going to butcher his surname right now, Lachavik, said that while the concerns are valued, the change is unlikely to impact the vast majority of users. I think that he's probably got his head messed up, because that's the whole reason why people use Ledger, is because of the capabilities of having your own access to your own funds and not having anybody like the banks to do something that's not actually convenient, if I'd say. Like example, banks, the reason why people move to this is because they don't want to keep the money in the banks, because banks are going under, etc., etc., etc. Second part is obviously trading on some of these centralized exchanges and the whole FTX things that happen. They're like, oh, okay, can't even keep my crypto on, like, on these exchanges, not your keys, not your wallet. Now, for a cold storage wallet to say, hey, look, no, we are actually going to be giving out your funds to anybody that we please, um, and allowing obviously these recovery phases to be stored on third party um, websites or third party users or nodes or whatever you want to call it, they gonna have access to your funds if they wanted to, and then the government can actually get, with those keys, can actually get access to those funds as well if they want. Now, all due respect to all governments in the world, but sometimes they get it wrong. You know what I mean? Like sometimes the government gets the whole thing wrong. I mean, most of the time crypto was banned from several countries around the world. Now they've adopted the technology because they find it that, because of the users being investing into it, they find it now a good point to actually get into it. It's a very touchy subject, this one, eh? So popular hardware wallet Ledger has landed itself in some hot water, which uh, with its new recover service intended to make access to funds less dependent on remembering private keys. It would seem that a side product of the service was allowing governments to subpoena access to funds held on ledger devices which subscribe to it. The ability for governments to access funds if required has been acknowledged by Ledger CEO, although he somewhat downplayed its importance, saying that governments usually only subpoenaed access to funds for serious crimes such as drug smuggling and terrorism. However, the ability for it to happen was enough to cause controversy throughout the crypto world, with many users saying that it um, contradicts Ledger's principle of self custody. Some users even went so far as to post pictures pictures their Ledger wallets set alight in protest. Ledger, however, remains one of the most popular hardware wallets in the world alongside alternatives such as Trezor. The rollout of Ledger's recovery service is now being paused while the company seeks to address users' concerns. I would also put this as a concern, to be honest with you, for me personally as well, because I don't mind being transparent. I do mind giving other people access to what I own. I mean, in this day and age, we're having so much of problems with recessions, banks closing down, meaning that you could wake up one day and your bank shut down and there's no money there, and you're going to be left with nothing. They say that the insurance covered by the bank can only cover up to 5% of the assets held by the bank. How the heck are we as hard workers working hard for our day to day lives trying to trust the bank? So what do? We try to find alternative solution where we can feel safe and secure because a bleeding government can't freaking save us. If the government was saying, hey, look, we safeguard all of your funds in the bank, nobody would want to move their funds to a ledger or something. They don't trust the banks. They don't trust the government to do so. So they saying that, look, go to the banks, keep your money in the banks and get screwed over, or put your money in a crypto storage wallet and we'll screw you again if we want to. That's a bit tough, I would say. And I don't think that's very good for Ledger, myself personally as well. Um, I'm a Ledger user, so I might look to find alternatives if this is the case because this is not on, if I would say, not on. So Ledger is a prominent brand in the crypto industry, definitely known as its hardware wallets. A hardware wallet is a physical device designed to securely store private keys and enable cryptocurrency transactions offline, providing the extra layer of protection against online threats such as hacking and malware. So this is another point that I think would be one of the points that if they allow people to have access to it, even governments, that means they will be open for attacks as well. Ledger offers a range of hardware wallets, the most popular being obviously the Ledger Nano S and the Ledger Nano X. These devices are small, portable, and equipped with the secure element chip that stores private keys and executes cryptographic operations. They support a wide variety of cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and many others. So, this article for me is a important one. Ledger itself for me is um, I think the guy's not in the right frame of mind if that's what's happening. I genuinely feel that this is a big problem for anybody, leave alone the users. Me as a user myself, I would feel it very, 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 very difficult to be able to use Ledger right now. It can be, I definitely feel there's probably some red flags that's going to happen later on. Let's move on to some other news. Uh, but before we go to this news, guys, I would like to obviously speak to you. What do you guys think about this whole crypto security and what do you guys feel about this type of stuff? Do you guys think that it's going to be is crypto positive? Do you think that there is a lot of problems happening in the crypto space? Um, Tell me your thoughts. I would love to know. I would love to know what you guys think because are you guys sure that the banks are the safest place to keep your money? I don't want to be biased in the way we speak about this, but I want to be very transparent. Is this something that you think that would be a detriment to society, a positive to society? We're looking at the market cap of cryptocurrency worldwide. On my previous live, if you guys can go check that out. And if you look at it, you would have noticed that this this crypto space is a massive one, and I would love to know what do you guys think about this. Because if you look at it, this types of space that we're living in the banking sector and what's happening in the world with recession, the war, how do you feel to keep your assets safe right now? Where do you feel that you can keep your money right now? Cost of living's going higher, the dollar's dropping, so your money is worth less. Keep your money in Bitcoin, and the governments can seize it if you're using a cold storage, as they see fit, apparently. So if they feel that you're owning maybe a large sum of crypto, they can obviously take that away from you if they feel fit. So it's depending on what they feel is right. I would say if they put the same amount of effort into saving the bleeding banks, it would have been better off than doing what they're doing right now. Please write in the comments what you think. Now, if you look at the total market cap of crypto and it's looking at just over $1 trillion, and the total market cap for or the financial sector, the financial markets, sitting at $4 trillion. That means we still got a big portion of the way to go. Now, I would like to know from you guys in the comments, what's your thoughts on this? Where do you guys see the opportunity? Where's the opportunity lying? And do you guys feel that this is a place where we can actually um, benefit from it? Because a lot of people don't like crypto. There's a couple of guys I spoke to, they're totally against crypto. But when the CBDCs come out and the central banks are going to be pushing out their own digitalized currency, I mean, are you still going to be in absolute dislike to the whole thing? If that's the case, let me know in the comments. I would obviously love to know more what you guys feel about that. And tell me which country you're from as well. So at least I can get some context to that. So, guys, I want to go into some other news, right? The other news right now, Bitcoin obviously price stabilizes after revisiting $26,000 area. So, what we found, if you look at our charts here, um, Bitcoin, I'll go on a daily chart just to make it much more simple. So, Bitcoin, this line, if you look at it, or this range, is this range from $26,000 has been around the mark where it's been sitting at recently. 25, 24, 26, around this range. So we're sitting in between 26 to $30,000. That's what's the range they're talking about. If you look at this, let's try to zoom in a little bit for you. They're talking about this little range here from this line to this line. So it's been ranging on there. On a weekly, I always try to zoom out. I believe in zooming out is very important for me, and can be very interesting what happens next. It can be very interesting what happens next. And so this is what they're looking at. So they're saying obviously um, the original digital asset appears to be a cranking aimed growing hopes of the US debt ceiling. So the last time one of the banks closed, one of these Americans banks closed, there was one in Switzerland as well that closed. And the last time this happened, which was quite recently, we've seen a surge in crypto. We've seen a surge in Bitcoin because of the simple reason why people don't trust the banks anymore. They're moving their assets to Bitcoin, hopefully trying to keep it in a cold storage, maybe not Ledger anymore because of what's been happening on the news. And they're trying to keep the assets safe, trying to keep their money safe. I mean, if you've got your hard-earned money and you're putting it in the bank and the bank goes under, that's one thing. The second thing, the asset itself, which is your fiat, is losing value because of inflation, and it's a good time where Bitcoin is on an all-time low. So you buy the dip, When if you're a swing trader, if you know anything about stocks, shares, or investment overall, and you buy at a low, potentials are very high. That's what I'm doing. Obviously, sitting on whatever physical funds I can get my hands on and waiting for a good buy opportunity and invest whatever I've got into this buy swing that I would get into quite early. Why? Because my money in the bank is not worth anything, firstly. Secondly, it's not even safe in the bank. The banks are closing down. So that could be a very tough one. Um, let's see. Obviously, depending on what's happening in the market, um, I don't know if you guys know this, but China has just allowed everybody to start trading the major crypto. Now, the Chinese market is a massive one, boys and girls. And if China is allowed to buy and sell and trade crypto, they're going to add a lot of volumes to Bitcoin. And that's happening in the next 2 days. So make sure you watch out for that. BNB USD change. So we're looking at CZ. Binance sued by the US CFTC BNB token slips. So the key points about this is obviously Binance has been sued by the Commodities and Futures Trading Commission. Lawsuits allege that the exchange encouraged users to use VPNs and warned customers of asset seizures. So Binance is still the world's largest crypto exchange, so the outcome could prove influential for the industry. Now, I would doubt that these alleged charges or sued charges um, can actually be. Um, I don't think that they can actually push this one. And the other part is most of these things that they're talking about the US. Everybody's talking about the US, but the US economy is one of the worst in the world. I mean, if you've seen other parts of the world, they're doing much better off than the US. So for me, I'm looking at this as okay, cool, but this is Binance US they're talking about. So as the largest crypto exchange in the world, Binance is certainly no stranger to regulations scrutiny. But in the US in particular, regulators are taking issue with the growing global dominance of the exchange, despite the fact that Coinbase is still the leading crypto exchange by volumes in the US. This time they've come under fire for their enforcement of compliance, and their token has suffered for it. Now, this is something very important people need to understand. I don't get why the US has to dictate what companies do outside of their country. So, example, if you got US users, makes total sense. But if you do not have US users, because they worrying about their global, according to this statement from TradingView, and obviously this news article written by TradingView. I will obviously go down and find out who actually wrote this article. This is one of the authors from TradingView. Um, this article, as you can see, there's a site. I'll put that in the comments somewhere. But you can see that they are worried about the world, the global. They're taking issues. Regulators are taking issue with the growing global dominance of the exchange. Now, wouldn't you think the US needs to focus on the country dominance, not the the global dominance? Well, unfortunately, the US is one of the places in the world where they can come after anyone anywhere in the world if they see fit. Meaning that if they feel that CZ has got money uh, in a ledger wallet predominantly, they could come and take it all, because if they find out that it's not funds were not used properly. But I think Binance is perfectly fine. They've got branches all around the world. They're licensed all around the world. They're kind of used to all of these types of not these types of cases or being sued, or the regulators after them. Kind of normal in the space. You're going to have to take on the heat. Um, let's see what happens. So obviously they have a number of issues. Let's see what happens. There's a couple of things that needs to go down. Let's keep reading. So, the Commodities and Future Trading Commission's CFTC has moved to sue both Binance and the CEO, CZ, after alleged subverting US laws to increase its revenue within the US. It details that the exchange allegedly instructed customers to use a to in the US to use VPNs to conceal their location in order to access its derivatives trading service, which is prohibited for users in the US. So, this point, I was just talking about this, right? The US is trying to prohibit derivatives. So, meaning futures, meaning leverage, meaning shorting. You cannot short the market, especially with leverage. Now, this is an important fact. Um, I doubt that, obviously innocent until proven guilty. They suing them. We'll have to see what goes on in the court cases. Um, but I doubt that a regulated broker like Binance would actually say to its users to do so, especially publicly. I doubt that would have been the case because definitely they would have known that it's illegal for that to happen. Um, Most people who are doing leverage trading don't work with US citizens. So that's interesting to see. Let's see how it plays out. The announcement has caused Binance BNB token to fall by 6% since the start of the week, despite CZ stating that he did not believe the lawsuit fully represented the facts and that the exchange has fully cooperated with the US law enforcement. So I that's the other point. A lot of these court cases comes along and bangs your token price, very badly. And I find it a bit unfair because sometimes it could be that they're just trying to get rid of the guy and his tokens. Obviously, with what happened with SBF and FTX and the FTT token, I think they probably want to try to squeeze the nuts a bit more tighter. Definitely good, though sometimes going about it in a different way, like publicly doing this to Binance tokens, you're hurting the users of the BNB token, not actually CZ, because the people who hold BNB tokens are the ones that are taking a 6% loss or a 6% fall, not actually CZ, who's literally the richest man in crypto. He's one of the richest man in crypto. I think he's the sixth richest man or something silly like that. The last time he was, not sure right now because market cap, etc., and bear market. But he was noted to be one of the richest men in crypto. So it's really interesting to watch out for. Anyway, let's keep moving on. Deeper issues, obviously, perhaps more of the significant portion of the lawsuit is allegations that Binance anti-money laundering (AML) system is not effective due to the supposed ease with which customers can conceal their identity. The regulators have taken issue with the fact that Binance US has not reported a single suspicious account to the authorities since May 2022. Um, could be, or maybe they're just very stringent on the way they do the KYC, and people that are not passing the KYC don't actually get accounts with them. Uh, I've used them, and I found it to be quite compliant, if I would say, from my side. Um, it's also stated that the exchange would give preferred customer warnings if they believe a seizure of assets could be imminent for their accounts. The lawsuit represents the most material action the US government has taken against the exchange to date, and if consequential, it will likely have knock-on effect for the rest of the industry given the market dominance. Yeah, you see, this is the thing, what I've noticed. These US guys, they keep throwing spanners into the works, almost like trying to deter the crypto industry or crypto users or people that's trying to get ahead in life, trying to make an extra income, why don't you put the same effort into trying to keep the dollar alive? Why don't you try to keep the same effort in keeping the banks open? I mean, you guys are screaming recession, screaming bank closures, screaming inflation, screaming, the interest rates and, banks closing down. I haven't seen you one day knock at a bank store saying to them, hey, you've not actually followed compliance and borrowed too much of money, and that's why you closed down. Though you're coming after cryptocurrency like as if it's a dog with a bone. I definitely feel that to be quite genuine. So guys, today obviously was our first or second live for the day. I'm gonna be pushing out more of these lives every single day. So um, if you guys liked this stream, you're gonna see more of me on different platforms. I'm gonna try and publicize as much as I can to all of the different platforms all around, and trying to connect you with more and more good stuff as we're moving along. Thank you guys for joining. Please, please follow us. We're growing every single day. We're here for dominance. We're here for the long haul. So become part of the community, join Trade Pro Labs, and let us help you, educate you. I will be doing more education sessions. So if you follow us and you put the notification on, I'm giving a free education course that will be on all our lives as well. So if you made it so far on this live, which is nearly an hour long, you will be rewarded for that because I will give you a whole free session. If you follow us and you join us on this live stream, put your notification bells on. I will be giving out a free lesson and explaining to you everything what I was speaking about today. How do you do technical analysis from baby steps all the way up to advanced? And I will be teaching you one to one on these sessions and bringing some of you guys live with us as well. So take care, guys. See you guys on the next video. Please like, share, subscribe this video as well, and give us a thumbs up. Put up some comments so we can actually spread the news. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you on the next live. Take care. Peace.